All right, well, the president was walking a fine line on some other issues, especially with this particular group, as Jillian pointed out, that might have been right in his conservative corner, but it concerned guns and how to keep them applauding and not getting, well, infuriating. Take a look.
But we really do have to strengthen up, really strengthen up background checks. We have to do that. And we have to do, for the mentally ill, we have to do we don't want people that are mentally ill to be having any form of weaponry. We have to be very strong on that.
All right, now the NRA, the National Rifle Association, opposes those two measures here and doesn't want the president to go too far, stressing guns, gun ownership, who can get them and when, at what age they can get them and how. So former Reagan campaign manager Ed Rollins on what he makes of the significance of even that slight departure from the NRA script. What do you think, Ed?
Well, first of all, I want to preface this by saying I'm not the president's advisor on hairstyle, and obviously I think the humor was very important today.
I did too.
I felt this was a very powerful speech. I felt he was very comfortable. As I watched this, I said, you know, this guy now is the leader of this party and the leader of this conservative movement, and this was the first step towards the 218 and maybe the 220 elections. I thought what he did today with the NRA was that they're my friends, they supported me, but this is a very serious situation, and we have to make some modifications, minor maybe. And I think one of the things that most people understand, the vast majority of gun owners in this country are as appalled by this terrible disaster that we had in Florida as anybody else. And I think we can make some modifications, and I think they'll be supportive. If they're not supportive, the president can lead the Congress to make those changes.
I think this crowd might have been open to it. All I would imagine are a good many NRA members, but the NRA has made it very, very clear they're not too keen on a lot of these ideas. The president seems to be hinting in the strongest terms, I think you want to go along with this.
Well, I think the bottom line is a lot of these things will be done at a state and local level, just as Governor Scott in Florida is going to come out with some propositions today, as it should be. I mean, the bottom line is the federal government should not be in everything. I think the key thing, again, it was a very powerful speech. It was addressing the issue that most people are very, very concerned about the last week, this terrible tragedy. And I think he's offering something to the American public, not a finished piece of legislation, not a total. It's a thought process, and it's a good thought process. And I think that's important.
You know, in a very simple way, but a powerful way, the president did sort of try to get a handle on why it is in midterm elections the party in power always gets clobbered, and he was just talking to maybe the psychological nature of it, that they've won, they've captured the White House, they feel, you know, excited about that. The other guys are galvanized to make sure it doesn't happen again, so they're more jazzed to come out and vote. And he was telling this crowd, we've got to get off our asses here, literally, and do something and not let that happen. But again, that is the historical norm, that the party in power does lose seats. Ronald Reagan experience in his first term. What about that message? I mean, how can you get that party in power jazz to get out the vote?
Well, he did part of it today. It's the first good step. Historically, there's a drop-off, dramatic drop-off in the midterm elections. More people vote, obviously, in presidential elections. Right. Usually the side that loses is more intense. Certainly the Democrats are going to be very intense. They have a lot of coalitional groups that basically don't like Trump, never will like Trump, and are going to do everything they can to make the changes. We are very divided as a nation, very divided in our partisanship, and I think to a certain extent energizing his base, energizing Republicans, telling them how important this election is, as he did today, I think is a very, very key. Whether he wants to make the whole election about him or let individual members of Congress and senators make it about them and their record is the key question.
You know, you worked for Ronald Reagan, of course, who was famous with his Irish sense of humor and a lot of time directed at himself, even picking up on some media themes at the time that, you know, he wasn't too sharp. Of course, we learned otherwise. He was quite sharp, thank you very much.
Yes.
But he used that to great effectiveness here. This president, for the first time on the hair thing, what did you think of that?
I thought it was very important. I thought it showed great humor, and obviously he has the ability to laugh at himself, which is always important. The second thing he did today is he fired a shot across John McCain, who's obviously like nobody I've ever seen. Ronald Reagan never attacked an opponent or never attacked a.
So he didn't call him out by name, but we all knew who he was talking about.
Yeah. And I think the message here is support me, I'll be good to you. Don't support me, you're going to pay a price.
All right, Ed, always good seeing you.
Thank you.
Ed Rollins, the former Reagan campaign manager. He's a Fox News contributor. Both matter a great deal to us.